Welcome to the Women of Ambition podcast. I'm your host, Alyssa Calder. Today I'm sharing my chat with Anna Cox. Anna is a registered nurse and a business owner of Ignite, an outdoor adventure women's group based in Heber Valley, Utah. Anna's passion is helping women live their healthiest lives, and we get to discuss wellness, how to practice ambition through setting personal and physical goals, and how our physical challenges, including a really long bout of postpartum depression that I had after my son, how those things taught us about ourselves and our needs. Enjoy! I have Anna Cox here. Hi, Anna.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Thanks so much for being on with us today.
Oh, so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So let's start out. Let's have you tell us a little bit about yourself.
Great. Yeah, I grew up in Springville, Utah, and then I went to the U of U. I studied nursing and communications. I was able to serve a mission in Puerto Rico. And all through my college days, I spent my summers doing fun outdoor jobs and also being working at Alta in the ski industry and getting into cross country skiing and backcountry skiing and every kind of skiing. I love every kind of skiing, really. And then I got married and lived in St. George for a bit and worked as a nurse. And I was able to have 4 awesome kids and worked as a nurse on and off, and then took some time off to be home with my kids. And my littlest is about to be in kindergarten this fall. And while she's been in preschool, I was really thinking about if I should be a nurse again, what should I do at this next point? And I just thought about the day in nursing school when they said 80% of people in the hospital have preventable diagnoses. And I thought, man, why don't we do more to keep people out? How come all the focus is fixing them? And so I thought, I really, my passion is to help people make healthy choices and live healthy lifestyles and be able to move their bodies outside and feel good. And I was talking to some friends and they love that idea too. And we're like, hey, let's focus on this and make something about this. So we started Ignite, and that's where I'm at.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about Ignite. What is that?
Well, it is our outdoor adventure and wellness business for women. And our focus is to help women feel comfortable and confident moving outside in so many ways, skiing, hiking, biking, swimming, anything you can think of. We want to help women feel confident and comfortable doing it and improve their skills. Because I know some people are into things already, but I got to tell you, mountain biking or skiing or anything is so much more fun when you improve at it and you get better at it and you can do it more efficiently. And we just want to help women with that.
And save yourself from injury too, right?
Right, exactly. Know the right kind of technique and how to keep yourself safe while you're doing it. So true. And then also add nutrition and other wellness courses, meditation, yoga, all of it.
Very cool. So tell me a little bit more about that creation process, because you have 2 partners, both named Jen. So the Jens.
Yes, the Jens.
What was that creation process like? You're like, I want to help people be healthy and improve their life. So what?
Oh, yeah, totally. So, it was a lot of meditating and prayer and thoughtful of just for a long time this year, I was just really focusing on, what is my best skill set? What are my gifts? What have I been given that I can provide the most value in my life and to those around me with? And it always came back to like where have you always spent your time? What have you always done? And it's always been getting people outside and moving. And so I knew I wanted to do something with that. And we had a friend that was interested, and we were just kind of brainstorming ideas. And I made a list of all the words that could be part of that would work for our idea. And Ignite, we kept coming back to Ignite because we just felt like, like you said, the biggest thing is just the motivation to start. And I love the way Ignite just makes you think of a spark, a flame, a fire, and it's what helps you get started. You got to ignite the fire. You got to get it going. And so I was talking to this idea with Jen and Jen, and they just were like, oh my word, I want to do something just like this. I've been thinking about this too, and I'd love to be part of this. And we've been for 15 years. I have been biking and hiking and swimming and skiing with those guys. And we always are trying to get other people to come along and teach them and show them. And we're like, this has been our theme for a long time. And let's, see if we can provide this value to just a bigger audience and include others. And so we like the word ignite, and we wanted to definitely incorporate movement, because that's what it's all about. And then we ended up with ignitemovementnow.com, because that URL was just perfect for us, because Ignite Movement was like $3,000 and Ignite Movement Now was 12. So we're like, okay, perfect.
That sounds like a good
So we ended up with ignitemovementnow.com. And then it's been so fun. I mean, we started in February, and we learned how to build a website. And we are learning all of the things that go into building a business. And it's just been incredible to see all the resources available and all the help and all of the support and the interest. And we did a huge ski clinic in March that was so successful. And we had such a great turnout and response that we're like, oh, this is awesome. People love this. Let's create more of this. So yeah, it's been fun to create. And I love just using your gifts and talents and skill set, and seeing what you can make with it. It's been so fun.
Where did the focus on women come from?
That we have always felt like so Jen Dorius, she was like, I just do well with women. I feel like my strength is helping women be together, and then helping them feel confident in themselves and find their strength and find their value and their power. And we all felt the same. We're like, we want to keep it more focused. And we have all been involved in lots of different camps and retreats and things. And we have seen the power that comes when women are together. Like, it has saved me through raising my kids. Like, if I can just get with some girls for, just have my women power time, you just learn so much about, how to be a better mom, how to be a better wife, a better sister, anything. Like, I just love time that I'm out with my girlfriends and the value that it gives. It's not that we don't love guys too, but there's just a different dynamic, and it is just so powerful to have women together and the strength that they bring each other.
I totally get that. I agree completely. So on the podcast, we've been talking a lot about power and creation and kind of getting stuck in that process. And one thing that I've been realizing and learning over and over again is, for me to kind of practice my own power, it's really empowering for me to be with other women and to step out into action. And that can be creating a business like what you did, but it can also be trying something new with my body and getting out into the world and challenging myself in some way. And so, like, last year we bought kayaks, and now we kayak.
Awesome.
And hikes with our family. And we've done we just did a big 6-month RV trip to a bunch of national parks with our kids during COVID.
Awesome.
It was fantastic. Hiking new places, discovering new things. Yeah. Those parks just offer so a diversity of experiences. And I frequently meet women who say, well, I couldn't come on your podcast because I'm not ambitious, and I'm not an entrepreneur. So it doesn't fit. And that's not true. That's not the definition I'm going for. If you want to learn how to mountain bike, that is very ambitious.
I agree.
If you want to run a half marathon, these are goals that we can set for ourselves that stretch us and empower us and exercise that piece that we want to discover here. So I love that you're creating a space to do that in a safe environment, that with guides and people who know what's going on, and you have all the equipment and it's like all taken care of. And it just takes women stepping into that and choosing that for themselves. And I don't think there's any way that, someone could come out of the retreat that you talked about earlier and not feel really awesome.
Oh man, thanks. That is so true. As I was thinking about just that word ambition and what does that even mean? I mean, just getting out of bed is ambitious.
Yes.
I mean, just facing your day. I mean, we all have our own unique trials and challenges and struggles in life. And I know no one's excluded from them. And just facing those is ambitious. I mean, having kids is ambitious, like having more than one.
Yes, I absolutely agree.
Like, oh my word, everything women do. And I love your story about your trip. Like getting kids out, doing anything is so ambitious. I mean, that is the best. Like I drag my 4 kids everywhere. And every time I'm like, okay, as long as there's zero expectations, then things go, then I'm good. As soon as you have like any expectation of anyone around you, really, it's you're disappointed. But yeah, so many people are so much more ambitious, I think, than they give themselves credit for.
Absolutely. And I think as we practice in small ways, like if we challenge ourselves physically or mentally, it totally unrelated areas in our life, we get better at that. Just having confidence in ourselves, and that power chakra is what I'm working on right now, which might not really jive with certain people, but that piece of yourself that can step out into a new space, when you try it in other areas of your life, it just gets easier and you build that confidence.
Oh, so true. I've seen that again and again with every woman. I've been in every situation. Anytime you just try something a little bit new, just a little bit harder, a little bit more challenging, you're like, wow, okay, I can do more than I thought I could.
Absolutely.
And such a huge booster for all areas of your life.
So now I want to turn more to you as a person. Have there been times when you have lacked that self-empowerment, that ambition piece that can motivate you to get outside or to start a business, or what does that look like for you in your life?
Yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, for sure. I mean, life is full of them, right? Like, I remember even just in high school, I was like so focused on, okay, I got to get the good grades. I got to get a good college. I got to do this and this and this. And this is how my life should like, I just had this vision of like, this is what successful or just responsible people do. And my first year at college, I was working at Alta. And wow, everyone has a lot different ideas about what a responsible person in the world does. And people are just, living in their van and climbing all summer and skiing all winter. And I'm like, hey, that's possible. I'm like, that's awesome. And just being exposed to like different ideas, different ways of living, different things to do. That got me out of that, like, oh, this is how I have to make my life. And this is how it should look, to like, oh, I can actually do anything with my life and make it look however I want. And then, kids come along, and there was a lot of things with having kids that made it really challenging for me to get out and do the things I wanted. We had like infertility, and I did IVF, and every pregnancy and delivery was just very complicated. And then you find yourself with, problems that you can't even get out of bed with, health conditions. And I've had injuries and illnesses that have really put me down. And those are the times where you just realize like what a gift each day is, and what a gift it is to even be able to move your body, and that you never want to take it for granted, and that you want to do everything in your power to be able to move it as many days as you can. Because those times in life when circumstances and situations put you in places where you can't even get up, you can't move, you have so little abilities, you realize like, okay, I can still be ambitious in some ways. I can still, focus on gratitude. I can still focus on what I do have and what I am blessed with, and who I can serve around me in little ways. And I think that kind of helps pull you out of those dark times. But I mean, life is full of them. The different situations are always going to put us in struggling situations where you have to really fight to get back to where you feel like you can show up the way you want and put what you want out in the world. But it's all part of it. It all makes you stronger and more empathetic and just more like a person.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah.
I've had very similar experiences between the like crisis place and the I have the freedom and space to choose into things. What did that middle space look for you? Is that recovery and rest?
Yeah. I think so much of it is just recognizing the power of your thoughts and like stopping the downward spiral. It is so easy to just focus on the I'm trapped, I have no freedom, I don't know how to get out of this situation, I don't know how to make better choices for myself, and your brain always wants to go there, you know? But I think it's just so empowering when you can recognize. I try to be a meditator. I do what I can, but it's amazing when I do meditate how you become so much more aware of what you're thinking, and you realize so much more of what thoughts are serving you and what thoughts aren't. And then you're like, okay, that I got to get rid of that thought. And then you realize how you can get rid of those thoughts that aren't serving you. You do, you know, through writing, through journaling, through so many different methods. And then you start recognizing those thoughts that are serving you. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to focus on that. You know, this past 2 weeks, my husband just had two different surgeries and he is in the pain cave today. You know, these like he's having a rough go. And I'm always like, how you doing? And he's like, future looks bright. Future looks bright. The worst is behind me. And I'm like, are you sure you're okay? He's like, yeah. He's like, if I think about anything else, it just goes downhill. And I just gotta, focus on future is looking bright. The worst is behind me. And it's amazing how he's like, I always feel better when I do think that way. And you recognize that you do. If you focus on, okay, you know, where can I be with my thinking and what can I do right now? And realize that our situations often are our choice. We are where we're at based on different choices we've made, and we can feel comfortable in those situations and in our life based on what other choices we're deciding. With little kids at home, it's easy to feel like, oh man, I am trapped, I have no freedom. But then you can also think, oh, this is exactly what I want to be doing. This was my choice. This is what, I'm choosing to be here with these little kids cooking this, doing all this cleaning and cooking. And this was my choice. And I have all of the choices to be anywhere else or choose anything else, but I've chosen this and this is where I want to be. Just focusing on that, like, okay, these are my choices. This is where I want to be. And this is help. And all through the middle ground, like, okay, my choices I can control my situation based on how I'm thinking about it, how I'm choosing it, and then be consistent with that. Like, go back to, okay, if I can make consistent good choices with my thoughts, my habits, my actions, gets you through that, I feel like. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very, very similar thing. Mindfulness. So I've had a lot of different health stuff, but probably the longest term one was after my son was born. I had two little kids that were just 16 months apart, and I had postpartum depression for 2 years. So it became like real depression after
Oh
that
yeah.
6 month mark. And I hated it, of course. No one wants to be in that space. And I was exhausted. I had these little kids at home. Um, and I wanted to work through this space. And so I got a talk therapist. I tried medication. I worked with a psychiatrist for a while, and then I was just checking off all the boxes, and I decided, okay, as long as I feel awful in my skin, I might as well serve other people, and I might as well eat healthy, and I might as well move my body. And this is like very specific to my experience. I know not everyone can choose this,
Mhm.
but to me, it was like, if as long as I'm feeling terrible, like I might as well feel terrible eating a salad instead of another
Yeah.
piece of bread or something. And so It took a while for me to figure out what worked for me, and it took a while to find the
Yeah.
right doctors. And what turned out was the issue was my hormones were out of whack, and I needed to see my endocrinologist and get lots of
Mm.
labs done, and get that corrected. Um, but in the meantime, like I just took myself to the gym 3 days a week for the 2 hours was the max that the daycare would take my kids. And sometimes I slept in one of the yoga studios, and sometimes I meditated. And then I started doing like walking meditations, and then I could do
Mm.
yoga, and then I started, okay, a little more elliptical. I was just like, it was like intuitive exercise is what I would call it. It was like, what do I need today? I'm going to give myself
Awesome.
a break from my kids for 2 hours, and I'm going to shower, and I can do my hair and makeup in there. I'd bring all my things. I'm going to make myself
Yeah.
feel good. And then what do I want to have an experience with my body today? And I think all of those things kind of built up momentum for me to be in the headspace to say, wow, the doctors I'm working with aren't actually helping me. I need to advocate for myself, and I'm going to go choose to see the expensive doctor who doesn't take insurance. And ding, 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 he found the problem and was able to fix it. And then I was able to kind of pick up and move on with my life. And it was a really long and hairy process to do that with little kids, but
Yeah.
it kind of came back to me living in my body again, and
Mm-hmm.
being present, like you mentioned, and letting myself be the authority of my space, because I had little kids running my life. That's that
Yes.
feeling, like you were
Yes.
saying, I don't have choices, like all these things are changing. Well, no, I chose to have these kids. I wanted
Mm-hmm.
these kids. I
Yeah.
didn't want the depression and the exhaustion and
Mm-hmm.
like hormonal imbalances, but um kind of coming back to myself, and then having the freedom to choose and having agency
Oh,
again once
yeah.
I had my head back and my body back and my energy back. Like all of those things take
Oh,
away your agency. And so it was just slowly, inch by inch, rebuilding all of those things.
oh, so great. That's such a great story. I love to hear success stories like that. I mean, and they're so common, right? We all go through things like that. And all of that is just so true. It's so helpful. That's such a great story.
Yeah, and those kind of experiences for me, they build on each other. So I have 4 kids also, and I've had to be on bed rest with 3 out of 4 of them for like
Mm.
months. And
Yeah.
knowing that I could get through that bout with depression, I got all of the things that I need to be healthy. Like I had them at one point. And so then when it got taken away from me again, I was able to build those pieces in much more
Oh, yeah.
quickly and come back to myself and like reground. And that, just practicing that cycle of coming back to who I am over and over again, makes it
Mm.
quicker each time. And I,
Oh,
I can
totally.
apply it to different parts of myself, not just the health crises, but like, oh, I'm like mentally not doing well. I'm going to go get a therapist, and I'm going to do some EMDR, and like, I'm going to like really dig into this. And I've learned how to just like feed my soul.
Oh, isn't that the best? I know. Like I feel like we all need to like go through that cycle of like, okay, how do I figure this out? How do I show up the way I want? How do I be the person I want to be,
Mm-hmm.
So much to learn.
Yeah, and
So
it
great.
kind of just takes stepping back and being like, oh, I don't actually want to have these thought cycles. I don't actually want to be
Yeah.
triggered by this thing. I'm going to go do the uncomfortable thing and work on that, where I'm going to sit and meditate about it,
Oh
and I'm
yeah.
going to sit still for like 5 minutes. That's like really hard, but
I
prioritizing
know.
that and sitting with it, and then it's like it's almost like a muscle when it's all tight and you push on it and then it just kind of
Oh yeah.
relaxes. Or
Yeah.
pain, and you think, where am I actually having pain? Is it
Yes.
just my whole body, or is it like this one nerve in my head? Okay, well, everything else is all right. It's this one spot that I need. I don't know. It de-escalates the situation, I think.
Oh, 100%. I love that. I mean, so many times I've had people, I am kind of a natural optimist and I love like encouraging people and supporting and I had this great conversation the other day with a friend who she's like, so so are you just happy all the time? Like, are you just always happy? And I was like, that is not the goal. The goal is not just to make yourself happy all the time, because you could just like push down, because everyone's going to have negative feelings. It's opposition in all things. We're all going to have, equal negative to positive emotions. And you could just always stuff those down and just put the happy face on and be like, oh, the goal is to be happy, so I'm going to be happy all the time. But I feel like those are going to resurface in just horrible ways, in physical problems, in mental problems, in relationship problems. And so I feel like the goal isn't just about being happy, it's about letting your body learn how to feel all emotions.
Yep.
And to process them, to just feel, hold space for them, and just allow yourself to have sorrow, to move through anxiety and depression and sadness, and just know that that's all part of the experience that we get down here. And that's part of what teaches us best. I feel like life's greatest teacher is pain. Like when you start really having pain, you're like, okay, now I'm going to pay attention. There's something I got to learn here. I don't want this pain anymore. So I'm going to really pay attention and figure this out. And
Yeah,
a lot of times
pain is like a little red flag to be like, hey, we need to pay attention to this right here.
Yes.
Don't ignore me.
Yes. Oh my gosh, all the time my kids are like, I have a headache, I have a stomach ache. I'm like, well, let's find out what your body's telling you. Your body's just trying to tell you something. Let's see. What have you drank today, or eaten, or what kind of screen time have you had today, or have you been outside? Our bodies need certain things, and if they're not getting them, they're going to tell you with pain. Mm-hmm. And it's just part of it. Like, I feel like just letting yourself allow those emotions, just be like, yeah, okay, I'm going to be sad. And I'm good with that. I'm going to do sad today. And that's just part of being human. And I'm going to, let myself experience the whole range.
Yeah. And I found that
process them.
when I feel those feelings and I'm in the process of processing, beautiful phrasing right there.
Yeah.
Part of what helps is to get active to some degree, to go on a walk or to be out in nature. And I don't have to be dwelling on it the whole time, but just moving my body helps move that hard thing around and work it out.
Oh, there's so much power through just being outside, through moving your body. Our bodies were really created to move. I mean, they just atrophy if we don't. I mean, they are designed to have motion. And then you combine like the fresh air, the sunshine, the beauty of the creations around us outside. It's like the perfect balm for our souls. Like, this planet was designed a specific way for a reason. And when you're outside, every single thing is following the order of the universe. It is all in perfect order. The trees, the grass, the birds, they are in perfect order, following their laws perfectly. And so we see that, and our souls are like, yes, okay, I can relax here. I can have peace. And then we go back to the chaos of our lives, because with humans, there's always going to be chaos. Anytime you're involved with any other human, there will be chaos. And so we can process through that and be like, okay, I was renewed, in nature, and now I can come and make more order with the people and the chaos around me, because I see it in nature and I can apply it to the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm. My kids, it must be so great to be a child of one of ours, but I teach my kids a concept I learned from a book called Balanced and Barefoot, which, if you're a parent, is a fantastic book for using nature as a part of childhood. And it teaches how a child's brain and even adult brains grow by just looking at a tree, because there's so many dimensions and levels and branching out. And it's just like one example of being in nature, and our brains are healing and they're growing just by observation. And it's just amazing to me that we have this kind of symbiotic relationship with the world. As part of this conversation, can you lead us through an example of when you've felt doubt, and what do you do with that?
Oh yeah. Well, I have to just start this out by saying this is actually my fourth business.
Okay, so you're
And
seasoned.
well, okay. So I think the thing to learn is like other ones I've tried to start, like there is always going to be like so many obstacles. And so I feel like you look at people like doing businesses and they're like, oh, that looks easy. Like, oh, I could do that. That doesn't look too hard. And then there is just so many layers that go into like everything that's so creative, but it's cool because you start to realize like every single thing out there came from someone's idea and then they developed it and grew it and put energy into it and fed it and it became something awesome, and every awesome thing starts with just one little idea, one thought of one person. And it's just cool to think about that. But yeah, so I've tried different things. I just really love creating things, and I'll start to create something and think like, oh, okay, this isn't quite going how I thought, and we change this or do that different, or then you start putting it out there and you're never going to be the right one for everyone. What you're trying to share is never going to be for everyone. And so there's going to be this huge audience that will be like, oh, but that's not for me. And then you think like, oh, that's no, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do this. Then you start to second guess yourself and think, well, should I be doing this? Is this the best way to use my time and energy and talents? But then you start to find the people that you resonate with, that you are for, that are so grateful for the value you're giving. And then you're like, okay, that feels great. And I felt so good when I was able to help that person and see how what I'm sharing changed their life. That's the coolest, right? But then still, I feel like just naturally in life, it'll always be throwing doubt and trials and challenges. And you'll think, I'm never going to figure this out. Or how am I ever going to learn how to make a website or find the right insurance or a million things? Figure out how to organize different things right? It's never ending. And then I feel like if you just focus on one thing at a time with the mindset of I can figure this out one way or another. We'll figure this out. And then when you approach something with that thought, resources just start coming into your life. And the universe is just helping you find the ways to figure things out. But it is really easy to wake up and think like, how am I ever going to figure out marketing or Instagram? I've never even been on social media. And, there's just so much to learn, right?
Mm-hmm. What would you recommend to other women who are considering setting big goals or trying to do their next big ambitious project?
Oh, this is so great. I think number one, just have grace for yourself, just patience and love, and really look at your expectations.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know when I'm frustrated, I just have the wrong expectations. And with a business, specifically with starting a business, I love the analogy of it's like a baby. People think like, I want to start this business so it can support me and it can take care of me in life and give me what I need. And like it is a baby. You would never expect a baby to take care of you in life, and so it just takes years, to feed, to help to grow it, to put energy into it until you see any kind of results. And I feel like any big thing you're doing, it's so easy to look around you and think, oh, those women, they have it all figured out, or whoever, they have it figured out, and why am I not figuring it out like them? And why do they make it look so easy? Whenever I have friends that are out on the trail and are frustrated with, mountain biking or skiing or why it's being so hard for them, I remind them of the 10,000 hour rule. I don't know if you read Malcolm Gladwell, but great books. I love his books. And he talks about the 10,000 hour rule, where if you want to be good at anything, it just takes 10,000 hours.
And then you can have it just the same as
and then you can do it. You can do it. But people so much they'll be out mountain biking and compare themselves to other people on the trail that have done it for 10,000 hours, and they're just starting and they're like, why is it so hard for me? Why is it so challenging? And then whenever you have that thought, just remind yourself, oh yeah, I just need 10,000 more hours.
I see that you have a big event coming up. Do you want to tell us about that that's happening in a month?
Oh, yeah, I'd love to. Our summer retreat, Ignite Your Summer retreat is coming. It'll be June 24th, 25th, and 26th. And it will be based at the Zermatt Resort in Midway. Our website is ignitemovementnow.com. And you can sign up for any clinic or retreat there. And then also we're on Instagram at ignite_movement_now, and on Facebook at Ignite Movement Now. And we do have a YouTube channel. It's in the works. We're building a community of women that like to play and have fun and want to do more of it.
Fantastic. Hey, thank you so much for
amazing.
coming on, Anna. It's really nice to meet you. And I am so excited to see where your business goes and just tell everyone about it because I think it's fantastic. And you're so driven by your mission. I can just tell it's part of who you are and what you are called and meant to do on this earth. So I think it's fantastic that you're finding a way to share that with the community.
Oh, thanks. You are amazing. I love the podcast too. Such a great idea and such good timing for it too. Just a thrilling time to be a woman in the world.
I agree.
Thank you.
Let's end on that note.
That's right. Yeah, thank you.
All right, bye.
Thanks for joining us today. The Women of Ambition podcast is a Big Round Schoolhouse production, edited and hosted by me, Alyssa Calder Hulme. I have been doing some Instagram polls, and one of the things that listeners are telling me they want to hear is actually about me. And so episode 10 is going to be me talking about myself. It will be a little bit of a different format because it will not be an interview format. But if you'd like to submit a question, you can do that on Instagram. You can find us at Women of Ambition Podcast. Submit any questions you have there or a topic that you'd like me to expand on, because I know my personal stuff comes through in little sprinkles through these interviews. So if there's something you want to hear more about, go ahead and give a shout out. Thanks.